Hello, hello. Welcome to Confidence with Coffee. My name is Heather Jean. I'm so excited to have you here and for you to be part of this Confidence Through Cabaret movement, really. Today, we are going to be talking about our latest podcast with Lindsey Peterson, which was fantastic. And I can't wait to tell you all about it. Um, but I just wanted to introduce myself a little bit more and a little bit more about what Confidence Through Cabaret is about. So I have been a training consultant and coach for over 25 years, and I have worked with corporate clients around offering leadership, interpersonal skills, and communication skills, training and coaching. So I've traveled all over the world. It's been wonderful. And of course, when COVID happened, that wasn't possible to be traveling or to be running large conferences and working with large teams or directorates. So I started Confidence Through Cabaret with two of the most wonderful people who are my co-pioneers of Confidence Through Cabaret. And we had the vision of using what we know to uplift confidence. So whether that's in your personal life, your work life, or your stage life. So I always say start from where you're strong with confidence. Well, with anything really, but most especially with confidence in this case, because we tend to find that we're confident in some parts of our life. Maybe you're confident in your work life and you're confident in some parts of your work, but not so much in other parts. Or maybe you're confident in all the way across your work life, but not so much in your personal life or in your stage life. In other words, your online life for most of us. I mean, some of us are on literal stages, and that's wonderful. We have lots of artists here in Confidence Through Cabaret. But, but for a lot of us, it's just about, being on social media live and YouTube and, podcasts and so on. So what we talk a lot about is around feeling good in our body, around, changing our beliefs, that hold us back, because willpower alone isn't enough to keep us, exercising or nutrition or feeling, changing our what we say to ourselves. We really have to dig into those beliefs and look at, are they true, and how do I overcome them? So I do a lot of work around that. We run regular webinars in Loving Your Body as It Is Today. And that means that, it might be that you want to change some things about your body. You might be that you want to, grow or develop certain skills or talents. But accepting yourself where you are right now is a fundamental part of growing confidence. We also do a huge amount of work around imposter syndrome, around what I talk about as your imposter voice. So how we talk to ourselves and questioning those things that we say to ourselves that limit or cause us to not take up space and, use our voice and share our message. So when we're talking about confidence, there's always, peaks and troughs and dips, and sometimes we go down deeper than other times, and sometimes it's, we very quickly rise. But it's not as steady, we get confidence and then we keep it. That would be just too easy. So all of us have those dips, but what you find is that when you have the right tools and the right support and the right kind of coaching or mentoring or group, that you dip less, you don't go as deep, and you come up more quickly. You don't stay down so long. So that's the work that we do. We talk about Confidence Through Cabaret because cabaret is a passion. For me, it's a hobby. It is something that I enjoy doing, and also being part of. And it's a community, but we use the principles of cabaret to help us uplift and grow confidence. And if you want to know more about that, we have a Facebook group, Confidence Through Cabaret Community. We also have Instagram. We have all the usual social media. I have Confidence and Attitudes on Clubhouse. So you can join us anywhere, as well as check out all of the playlists. So please like and subscribe if you haven't already. I love having comments here on YouTube or on IGTV, wherever you're watching this. We also have podcast Confidence Through Cabaret, and that's what I want to talk about today. So this is Confidence with Coffee. And our segment here is really about, having a cup of coffee. I believe that for my podcast, when I have a guest, I really want to hear their story, their skills, their experience, their advice, and so on, so that it's as rich as possible for the listener and they can take away as much as possible. All things informing confidence is the theme. So we have had a massive range, and you'll see it in the vodcasts list. If you're here on YouTube, you'll also see it on the playlists on the podcast platforms. Anywhere you get your podcast, it's Confidence Through Cabaret. And it's anything informing confidence. And this week we had the wonderful inspiring Lindsey Peterson sharing the kind of coaching and therapy that she does. And there's a beautiful kind of 3-step strategy in terms of how Lindsey helps her clients kind of move forward and stop surviving and really be thriving. So let's have a listen to the clip first.
Yeah, so really what I would break it down to is really fundamentally 3 things. It's recognizing where you are in your brain, and it's knowing that in those different parts of your brain, you have a question, and we need to answer yes to that question. So if we can answer yes to the survival one of, am I safe? And we can say, yes, you are safe. You move to the emotional part of your brain, which is asking the question, am I loved and connected? And we go, yep, let's do that. And I'll teach you those tools and steps to do that. So we say yes, and then we move up to the executive part of your brain. This is where you're happy, you're joyful, you're not in survival mode at all. You're so taking hold of your life. You're excited, you're full of life. There's energy about you when you're there. And when you're there, you're having the question, what can I learn and how can I grow? So let's answer yes to that too. And let's teach you, let's explore, let's discover what there is to be in your life.
Okay, so I love that. I love especially that Lindsey doesn't just sort of talk about like, oh, you need to move into, thriving and, talk just about thriving, but really kind of helps us go through the stages and look at where we're engaging our brain. And if you heard it, if you hear the podcast episode, or if you've been listening to the podcast episode, you'll see Lindsey do these kind of 3 gestures from kind of the cheekbones to the temples to the top of the head, which are, kind of 3 levels. So elevating. But I think it's a beautiful model. It's something that is helpful for others to guide us through. And that's my vision for the podcast, is to bring in guests where we collaborate and we help one another, because we can't be all things to all people all the time. No one can. So just that opportunity to kind of hear different guests, their ideas and their interventions, and then the opportunity to work with them if you want to. And of course, the opportunity is always there to be in one of my group programs around body confidence or imposter syndrome, or any of the confidence library. ConfidenceThroughCabaret.com has a series of masterclasses for personal life, work life, and stage life. We talk about dreamscaping. We talk about mindset. We talk about lifestyle engineering. We talk about somatic breath and sensuality. We talk about, there's some workshops on there. There's makeup workshops, which are not really about learning how to do makeup, although you could learn how to do makeup from them, but more about it kind of exploring and playing with different kinds of ways of being. Now, those things, I guess, in Lindsey's terms, would be at the executive part of our brain, where we're really learning and growing and thriving. But we talk a lot in this podcast around, kind of the level below the executive being, am I loved and connected, and having support and, accepting support, which can be a tough one. And then, of course, where we can, in our dips, go into survival mode. And sometimes that can last quite a long time. For me, that lasted decades. I think the freeze of the fight, flight, or freeze, I think the freeze was a strong ally for me for a long time. And I wasn't ready to go into my feelings. And I didn't want to recognize, I didn't know what to do with my feelings because I didn't feel safe. And we talk about that on the podcast around, what happens if you're in circumstances where you can't get out of them at this time. And it feels, if you're in that sort of situation, I get it. It can feel like we'll never get out. It can feel like if we let those feelings come out, they'll overwhelm us, and we won't be able to breathe anymore. We won't be able to survive. And that's and that's that feeling of wanting to stay in bed all day, or not or hiding from the world, or shrinking ourselves and making ourselves small and pretending we're fine. Those things are all things that I've done in terms of survival mode. Um, and so this is what I love about this segment, is that this is an opportunity for me to talk about, how I've reflected on the episode, and how it's resonated for me. I try not to do too much of that on the podcast, because I really want more time for the guests. But in here, I really have been there with my own health, with being a full-time carer to others. We also talk in this podcast episode with Lindsey about um, the roles that we play, and are we putting too much emphasis on one role or another. And I know certainly when my late husband had Alzheimer's, I didn't feel like I had a choice. I had needed to be carer, more so than mom, more so than businesswoman, more so than daughter, more so than than the role I play in my own life. And that was a choice that I made. So I think for me, what helped me navigate that survival time was recognizing that I was making a choice, that I had other choices. None of the choices were good. There was only one way that Alzheimer's was going to go. But just recognizing that we're choosing to stay, to be a carer. I could have hired nurses. Actually, I couldn't have hired nurses. I could never have afforded it, but it was an option. I could have walked away, or I could have left it to my children, or I could have left it to the social care system somehow, I guess. But I had choices. All of them sucked, but I made the choice that I could live with and that I was most comfortable with. And I think, when we're in those situations, it feels like it's never going to end. And certainly that even after it does, the feelings are never going to end. And they do. They just do. Go listen to the podcast episode. Listen to the way Lindsey says, you just feel like those feelings are going to go on forever. But releasing them, letting them out of our body, let us feel them, and then letting them go is such an important part of our healing, and to being able to move up to that next level, as we heard in our clip from Lindsey. I also asked Lindsey to apply those kind of the 3 steps model to something that's more of a chronic, ongoing condition, such as anxiety. And I can really see where having that ability to apply it to anxiety, and kind of going, where am I in my brain? Am I safe? Am I okay? Yes. And then moving up, and finding tools when we're not feeling okay to calm ourselves, such as journaling, meditation, gratitude, um, exercise for some of us. For some of us, it's about kind of nourishing our bodies in different ways, whether that's through food, or through intake of fluids, or walking, or whatever it is. So go and have a listen to the podcast. I'd love for you to comment and tell us what you think of the episode and what your key takeaways are. Reach out. I'm a Confidence Through Cabaret on all the socials. I'm also Heather Jean on all of the socials, except for 2 socials where I'm not Confidence Through Cabaret. One of those is Twitter, and it's at YBYWYS. And the other is Clubhouse. And I already told you it's Confidence and Attitudes is the club. I am Heather, sorry, at Heather, YBYWYS. And those 6 little letters stand for, it is your body, it is your world, and it is your stage. Take up space, own it. You deserve to feel good. Reach out if you need anything. Thanks for now. Bye.